Fox 45 News at 4 starts now.
The mass shooting in Harford County raises questions about workplace threats and confrontations and how you should respond to them. Joining us now is Rafi Bilek from the Baltimore Therapy Center. Rafi, thank you for joining us. From what you've heard about what Mr. Prince is accused of doing and what you've heard some employees were telling authorities, or at least their bosses, what could have happened here in the workplace that might have been different? Any idea?
What could they have done differently to avoid
Yes.
this? You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say what they didn't do already. Probably they ought to have reported. I'm sure many of them did speak to their bosses and to talk about, you know, what's going on, what they're seeing, try to get some intervention before it got out of hand, to let people know inside and outside the office there might have been some trouble.
Right. We do understand that apparently there had been a peace order filed against Mr. Prince at his former place of employment. That seems like if an employee has to go to that extreme for whatever the reasons they felt, there must be something going on there.
Yeah, you know, if the employer knew that when he hired this person or when he found out that things were going on with him, that might have been taken into account very strongly, that, you know, a peace order against him might indicate there's something about this person that, you know, there's some violence problems, there are some aggression problems.
Yeah, and it seems as though that was something that tried to be done. Now, we just did a story in our first block that the brother of Noah Oriana was apparently complaining to his bosses about Mr. Prince at AGS, Advanced Granite Solutions. In this instance, he was even trying to leave the place of employment. That has to be, again, an extreme case if someone feels like they need to leave a job because they're not getting any resolution.
Yeah, I mean, that is sort of the end of the road in terms of your options, but it may be an option if you have a person at the workplace who is violent, aggressive, or difficult, and nobody is intervening about it, then you may have to leave.
And so let's give our viewers something that they can take away from our discussion today. What would you recommend to someone who feels like there's an employee who could be a problem? And I want to discern between getting into an argument with someone and then crossing the line. Can you give us what's crossing the line here today, Rafi?
Crossing the line would probably be confronting them directly, and, you know, with anger or aggression yourself. The first step probably is just to mention to them, hey, I don't know if you know, but, you know, this thing that you're doing is bothering me. It's making it difficult. Start by talking about your experience. I'm having trouble when you do this.
If they still have no resolution?
Then you would go to you go to the boss, to the superior, and say, hey, look, this problem's been happening. Probably want to do something in writing to make sure it's there. And then after that, you know, if nothing's happening, you got to take care of yourself.
Quickly, before we end, what are some red flags? I would think something, anytime one person puts their hands on anyone else outside of a friendly gesture and that which would be appropriate in the workplace, that should be a red flag.
That's a red flag. I think any kind of threat, direct threat, is a red flag. Those usually get worse and not better without intervention. Someone who is being very harassing, whether sexually, racially, any other kind of things like that, those are red flags. You know, difficult workers is one thing, but direct aggression is another.
Okay. Well, we hope, is there a website, by the way, that people can go to learn more about what you do and how to resolve conflicts?
Sure, yeah, we do a lot of workplace counseling. You can find us at BaltimoreTherapyCenter.com.
Okay. Rafi Bilek, thank you very much for the advice, Rafi. We appreciate it. Absolutely.